This is Othelia Joy of the Othelia Joy Show. So in this upcoming interview, I had the pleasure of interviewing Liberia's Minister of Education, George Werner. So this interview is going to pertain a lot of information regarding our education system in Liberia. So make sure to stay tuned and enjoy the video. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hello and welcome to the Othelia Joy Show, here for your enjoyment. Today I am so blessed to be sitting right next to someone who is so influential to my country, Liberia. I will have him introduce himself.
My name is George K. Werner, Minister of Education, Liberia.
Nice. Well, Mr. George, thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have this interview with me. So, first of all, I just want to acknowledge you. Thank you for all the work you're doing to make Liberia, especially the education system, where it is today. So now, can you tell us about some of the programs you have implemented in Liberia?
Also, there are 4 critical issues in Liberia. Access, quality, learning outcomes, accountability, and governance. This is the way we want to approach reform in Liberia, by looking at those issues. So, under President Sirleaf, we have increased access. Right now we have at least 1.5 million children in school.
Wow.
The enrollment gap between boys and girls is just about narrowing, and so we're proud of that achievement. But we're not resting on that.
Right.
We want to improve quality.
Absolutely.
We want to improve accountability, and we want to work on our governance systems. So these are the issues that we're looking at the moment.
Great. Thank you so much. When you say we want to work on our government issue, can you elaborate on that? What kind of issues do you guys want to work on?
So it's not enough to bring a child to school. That child must stay, learn, and graduate.
Right.
Right now we have only 17% of our teachers who are qualified. You have teachers within the system who have fake credentials that we need to weed out. You have others who need to be retired.
Right.
You need to interest young people, particularly young people who are studying the sciences.
Right.
You need to interest them in education. So you need to improve the quality of teaching.
Absolutely.
By training teachers. You need to provide students and teachers with learning materials, books and teachers' guides.
Right.
And you need to train teachers in terms of how to use those books to teach. And so you need to equip the teacher training institutes.
Right.
On the issues of accountability, the schooling system needs to hold itself accountable.
Oh, absolutely.
The county education officers, the district education officers, the teachers, and the principals need to work hand in hand with communities and parents to make sure that learning outcomes improve, be it over time. And then you have the issue of financing. That is a challenge. You have a budget that is mainly salaries. You need to do education programming in a decentralized way so that the counties have more authority in terms of how they educate children.
Gotcha. Thank you. So you said 17% of teachers have fake credentials? Are qualified. And only 17%. So how many percentage of teachers are actually teaching?
It's difficult to tell.
Okay.
Because, look, one of the initiatives we're undertaking now is the teacher verification exercise.
Okay.
We're going from county to county to biometrically enroll teachers. That means we need your fingerprints. We need your passport-sized pictures for facial recognition.
Right.
We need your biodata, everything computerized, so that no one will be able to duplicate you in the system. We have a problem with ghost workers. That way we can eliminate that and have a better control of payroll management within the system. So in the end, we will know what we have in terms of number of teachers who should actually be in the classrooms, and what the deficit is to be able to accelerate teacher training and put more teachers in the classroom.
Right, because you kind of answered my question. I was going to ask, how did you guys discover those teachers who were working with the fake credentials?
Because
how does that
verify.
I know that's.
We go through your credentials. One is a painstaking exercise. We have a trained team partnering with USAID and others to be able to go to counties, school by school, community by community, district by district, and interview teachers. You bring all of what you feel make you qualified to be a teacher, and we go through everything. And one of the things we note is if Othelia is signing on to a certificate, we want to know whether Othelia was actually the authority at the time who should have signed on. Yes. So those are the things we're looking at.
That's smart. That's very smart. So my next question is, tell me about the classroom activities. Each school, is there like a computer lab? Are there internet for the student to have access for research?
Well, connectivity is a challenge, but we have several initiatives ongoing. The Liberian Litelco, it is called, is initiating a computer program. We have at least 101 high schools in Liberia, 127. Our hope is within the next 2 years that every school, every high school, will have a computer center. So we've begun with the support of Litelco to put 50 computers in the school. And we need now to connect this to the fiber optic. We're looking at Google going into Liberia to expand broadband access with the support of the United States Agency for International Development. So all of these things will create access. But you need to educate teachers. You need to change the mindset of students to take advantage of the multiple sources of learning. It's not just access, but how you use the information to do something new that is not only beneficial to yourself, but to the community and to the country as a whole.
Perfect. Great answer. So now in another word for curriculum, so what are the textbooks? Are the students using American textbooks? Does the Liberian have their own textbook? Can you tell me more?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have many Liberian authors, and we're using what they write to teach. So for the first time since the end of the Civil War, this year we distributed over 2 million textbooks. So students in grades 1 to 9 do have the textbooks they need, most of them written by Liberians, to be able to read and use within the classroom. As we speak, we just brought in textbooks for grades 10 to 11. And they will be distributed in early March. These textbooks are not just written by Liberians, but by West Africans, so that we are in line with what ECOWAS wants for the school system for the region.
Nice. And with our education system, is it similar? Would you say it's similar to the American system, or is it completely different? Do we have our own education system as Liberians?
The calendar is the American school system calendar, and we did that on purpose because we wanted to take better advantage of the rainy season. As you know, in Liberia we have 6 months of rainfall, heavy rainfall.
Yes.
And during that time, many students don't go to school. So we have tailored our school calendar September to July to be able to avoid the peak of the rainfall. But the textbooks are mainly Liberian and West African.
I like that. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that knowledge because I honestly did not know. So,
Many Liberian authors, and we encourage Liberians to write.
right.
Much of the writing, though, is in the pre-primary and primary divisions.
Right.
We want Liberians to write more in terms of the higher levels of education.
Right.
At the senior high level, 10, 11, and 12. Right now, we're taking advantage of what is in Ghana and Nigeria. But with the junior high schools and early childhood development level, we have many Liberians who are writing, and we're using their...
Power to us. That's amazing. I'm so excited to hear that. Oh, that's great. So now another question. You know, there has been some talk about teachers being underpaid. As the Minister of Education, how are you dealing with that? Are you working to increase the salary rate for our teachers?
Look, when President Sirleaf began her presidency about 8 years ago, teachers were making around $15. That's 1.5. Right now, the least paid teacher is around $140. To a lot of people listening to me, that's nothing. But within our context and placed in the regional context, that's something. We have a national budget of around 600 million. And given the global downturn in commodity prices, iron ore price down, oil is down, rubber is down. With the economy focused on the extractive industry, we are not doing too well. So we need to retool to the agri sector and to add value to what we produce in the agri sector so that the economy can grow and people can pay revenue so that we can have the money to do the things we need to do. So while we acknowledge that we are not where we are in terms of salaries, we've made progress from $15 to around the average of $140.
And that's what we could do, just keep progressing forward, you know? Now let's talk about a very important topic of bribery in the education system. Is that still going on today?
Sure, there is.
And what are you doing as the minister to stop that?
I am a systempreneur. I consider myself so put in place the policies, the laws that are required, and create the systems in according to that policies to eliminate this. So we have the Act, revised Act creating the Ministry of Education. We have the Teachers Code of Conduct. We have the Code of Conduct enacted into law by the legislature. All of these prohibiting malfeasance within the system. So to the degree that we can implement this and hold ourselves again accountable through a stringent monitoring and evaluation system, we'll be successful.
Amen to that. Hallelujah, Jehovah, to that. Thank you. So is there any statistics out there about the performance rate in our education? Are we moving forward? Are we improving? What are the statistics? Can you tell me?
We're moving forward.
Okay.
But we are not where we should be. Liberians are smart people. Unfortunately, the system is letting a lot of children down. You would have heard that 100% of those who applied for university entrance failed it, and less than half of those who sat the West African examination exams failed. So we cannot use just test scores alone to evaluate the performance of students. However, that tells us something. So we need to improve learning outcomes across the board for students.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so are they failing due to the teaching? They're not being taught properly? Is it the tests that are too difficult?
Multiple issues. There are multiple issues, from parental responsibility, from what we inherited from the war, from lack of quality, which we described earlier. Textbooks were not there. We're just giving them. Teachers were not trained to use the textbooks. We've just begun doing those things. And helping the West African Examination Council to hold itself accountable, to draw up tests that are relevant to what teachers are teaching and students are learning in the classroom. I don't want students knowing about Shakespeare in Liberia when they don't know about the their ancestors, their chiefs, the women who raised them and bring meaning to their lives. So we should make education integral to the development of our children.
Nice. So on a performance level, who would you say is performing better, girls or boys?
By
And
the
why?
statistics, girls are performing less by the statistics.
Wow.
On every score, boys are doing better.
Wow.
And that is a challenge for us. In fact, we have more girls dropping out of school as they age than boys.
It's because they're getting pregnant?
That's
What is
one reason. The other reason is what the Minister of Gender described earlier. There are cultural reasons, especially in parts of the country where you have strong ritual practices related to the Puro and Sunday societies. You have those issues. But there are also financial issues. Girls mainly take care of families, and they are counted upon to be home and to do a number of things, including caregiving. We need to change our mindset, our cultural practices, and invest in girls to go to school.
Great answer.
But more than that too, is what I keep saying, is to improve wash facilities, water, sanitation, and hygiene, particularly in learning environments. If the bathroom is not good enough, girls will not go to school.
You're right. Which is not a valid reason, trust me. I'm not saying this is a good reason not to go to school because the bathroom is dirty, but I can understand why.
Girls drop out of school because, at that special time of the month, they want to make sure that where they go is clean.
Exactly.
And if the bathroom is not clean, they would not go there.
Wow.
It's a fact.
See, that's another process, something we can work on, Something we can definitely work on. So how many students right now do we have on like a scholarship that are from Liberia, let's say, to the United States?
We have many in the United States, but I'd like to give you a global figure. We have around 300. Most of them in master's and PhD programs. Since this administration, Salif administration, she's giving scholarships to at least 500 young Liberians to study abroad. She recognizes that she herself, having been a beneficiary of a government scholarship, the value of that to enhance capacity for the country. So when the students come, they sign a contract with the government, and when they return, we do everything we can to place them primarily in the public sector to boost the capacity of the civil service. Where we cannot, we redirect them to the private sector.
All right, I got 2 more questions, and I'll let you go. So let's say if a nonprofit want to donate book supplies, school supplies, what is the process of doing that?
Partner with the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
Right now, there used to be a practice where people brought school supplies, and those school supplies were giving some tax exemptions. I have stopped that. Unless you give those materials to the Ministry of Education, you do not enjoy the privilege of tax exemption. So partner with the ministry to be able to give those things out. We welcome Liberians in the diaspora who will partner with us to do that because it's a value. Having said that, I think we're also looking at ways to leverage the private sector. And that's one of the reasons I'm in California, to see where innovation is, where creativity is, so that we can leverage the advancements we've made in technologies to improve learning outcomes.
Okay. Last question. So are people or students in the same rural area getting the same educations as well as those in the cities?
Look, I had my basic and primary education in Grand Creek County and in Maryland County in Liberia. Those are considered the countryside. And I believe pre-war, the countryside gave better education than the urban areas. Right now, there's a reversal, and we need to reinvest in the countryside to make sure that no Liberian child is left behind.
Thank you so much. Well, it'll just end on that. Minister George Werner, thank you so much for taking time again. I really, really appreciate this. You're the best. Again, this is the Othelia Joy Show, here for your enjoyment.
To see my mama, taking those on Sabbath. I do it a team and take taking you to Bikana to see my mama, taking you to some service. To happy that you go, mama, come see my baby, oh. Oh, papa, come see my baby, oh. I said, Joe, come see my baby, oh.
Because of the law, I want to draw who. You said no, you my interview.